everyone, it's Haley, and today I'm going to be filming my July book haul. So I ended up acquiring quite a few books in July. It's probably my biggest book haul since my January book haul, which was absolutely ginormous. It's not quite that big, but it is a fairly sizable book haul. Basically, I just was kind of in the mood to buy books, and also, if you guys follow me on Twitter or Snapchat, then you guys would know that I recently got a job at Chapters. I think I've mentioned it once on my channel before too, but I got a job at my local Chapters, which is Chapters Devonshire. If you know where that is, then you can come and visit me. But I cannot resist using my employee discount and buying books. I'm just surrounded by books all day, so I just can't not pick some up. So I have been buying more books than I normally would around this time. So it's kind of like the job is a great thing, but at the same time it is not nice for my wallet. But at least it turns out well for my channel because I can do more book hauls. So yeah, today's book haul is pretty big and I have 4 videos to film, so I'm just gonna get right into it. So the first couple of things that I got are kind of not really books in the conventional sense, but they are still books, and I wanted to include them in this video because I'm excited about them and it's my channel, so I'm doing what I want. So the first book is this photo book that I got made from my trip to France that I took this past month. At the beginning of the month I went to Paris for a little bit, and then we went to Burgundy, which is like countryside France. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. I had a blast, and I got this photo book made just for nice memories. See, that's me taking a picture, which was basically the summary of the trip. So yeah, we went to Paris, and then this is where we stayed. Like, it's just really nice to have an actual book made out of like all the pictures that I took. So I did order one from my trip that I took to England last year. I'm still waiting for that one to come in, but yeah, that's the group that I went with. There were cows everywhere, which was amazing. The sun. I have photography pictures that I took. Yeah, just took pictures of flowers and stuff. There were poppies everywhere, you know, all that good stuff. Stained glass windows, all the animals that I saw because I love animals, and yeah. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's from snapfish.com and they had like a really good deal on it, so that's why I got the other one too, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. So along those same lines, I got this photo book right here, which is like an actual photo album. I got this from Winners, which is the Canadian version of Marshalls or TJ Maxx. I think they're owned by the same people even, but yeah, I like their photo albums because not only do they have landscape, but they also give you the option to put pictures in portrait, which you don't get with a lot of photo albums, and it's really helpful because I take a lot of pictures in portrait as well as landscape. So yeah, so in here I have pictures from my trip to England that I took last year. If you remember that, then you have been here for quite a while, which is awesome. So yeah, I have pictures from that. We went to Paris for a day when I went last year, so I have photos from that. Just all the Harry Potter world things, which is amazing. Love that. Yeah, this is super heavy. Shakespeare's house, all the stuff that we went to there in Oxford. Oh god, this is heavy. Yeah, and then these are things from this year. So this is from my trip to France this year. I just really like having pictures actually printed out. Like, I'm kind of old school like that. I just think there's something so satisfying about having pictures actually printed and just looking at them after, and it's just, I don't know, more nostalgic. So I don't know, I really like this. Now before I get into the actual books, I have a couple of bookish things that I wanted to show you guys. So the first thing is this coloring book. I absolutely love coloring books. I kind of go through phases where like all I'll do is color, and then other phases where like I won't color at all. Lately I have been coloring a ton. So I got this Shakespeare coloring book, which is Escape to Shakespeare's World, illustrated by Good Wives and Warriors, and I just had to get this because I'm a Shakespeare nerd and it's just kind of my nerdy dream. It has like a bunch of quotes, like there's quotes within it, and it's divided into like what play it is. I was coloring this one yesterday. It's a quote from Romeo and Juliet, and I haven't finished any of these ones because these ones are pretty intricate, so I'm kind of impatient, but I started coloring this one too from Midsummer Night's Dream. yeah, it is just absolutely beautiful illustrations, and I just love the concept of this one. And then along those same lines, I got a Alice in Wonderland coloring book. Now, there are a ton of Alice in Wonderland coloring books out there, like your options are vast, but I kind of wanted one that was like easier to color in, because a lot of these coloring books are really intricate and I get like really stressed and I never ended up finishing actually coloring the picture because it just takes me so long. So I wanted one that wouldn't be like that, and I was looking originally at the one that has the original John Tenniel illustrations, but then I was like, I'm going to be trying so hard to match what the actual like illustration colors are if I get this one, so that would be way too much pressure. So I ended up not getting that one, and I ended up getting this one, which is by the illustrations are by Fabiana Attanasio. I just butchered that and I'm so sorry, but I really like this one. It was like, it ended up being like $6 because they were all 40% off, but I have finished coloring like a ton of them. Like I finished coloring the rabbit, I started the clocks. A lot of them I've just started Alice because she's really easy to color. This is the very first one that I finished, her talking to the flowers. I was originally gonna get one with quotes because I kind of like the idea of having quotes, but I like this one because it's in chronological order. I started that one, never finished it. It's in chronological order of the actual story, so I'm like following along with it and I can follow the story because of how like the drawings are laid out. I started doing the tea party and I'm almost done, but then my marker ran out halfway through, so still need to go and get a new marker and then I'll finish it. But yeah, the illustrations are just really cool and they're kind of more simplistic, which I really like. Started that one, didn't finish it. Are we seeing a pattern here? I finished that one, that's a good thing. Yeah, so I really love this one and I've just been obsessed with it. So finally, now getting into the actual books, the first book that I got this month is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, which you are probably saying, Haley, you have like 1,000,000 copies of The Fault in Our Stars, to which I would say you can never have enough. And this was given to me by someone who came to meet me at Shakespeare and Company in Paris, which was absolutely amazing meeting you guys. I was just like mind blown that people came to meet me. It's still so weird to me, but I only spent, like, other than sleeping, I spent probably like 6, maybe 7 hours in Paris. So I like got straight off the plane, went to my hotel to check in, and I was with like a huge group of people. So it took forever, and then I went like straight off the plane to the hotel and then straight to Shakespeare and Company. So I was right off of a 9-hour flight, but meeting you guys was so worth it. It was absolutely amazing, and I just, oh, it was so great. Here's a picture of all you guys that I met. It was so nice meeting you, and thank you guys once again for coming, and I got waffles, and I got this book. It was absolutely amazing, and yeah, this is from Shakespeare and Company, so it has a stamp in it, which I love this stamp, and I'm just super excited about this. I'm going to have this forever. The next book that I got this month is The Girl from Everywhere by Heidi Heilig. This book you may remember or recognize from my most anticipated releases of spring 2016. I just think that the concept of this book sounds so cool. It's about this girl who she travels all around the world because her father just has this ship that can travel everywhere, and it's not only everywhere in the real world, but she can also go to fictional worlds. So she goes to like India, she goes to Africa from 1001 Arabian Nights, and she goes to Hawaii, she goes to all of these places, and I just think I love traveling and I love reading books about travel, and not only traveling in the real world but traveling in fictional worlds. I just love this concept so much, and I haven't heard too much about this book on BookTube or on Goodreads since its release, so I'm hoping that that doesn't necessarily mean that it's been disappointing people. I'm hoping it won't let me down because I have pretty high hopes for this one. Next, I picked up Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. I had been eyeing this book for a while because I just think the whole concept of a Western story that's YA is just so intriguing, and I've never read anything like that before, and I'm all for unique books, so I was kind of all over this one. So I'm really excited to jump into it. All I really know is that it's a Western. I don't know too much else, but I think that it has lots of potential, and I've heard really great things, so I'm hoping it won't let me down either. Next up is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody, Ashton, and Jody Jody Meadows. This book was actually in my June Owl Crate, so I will link that unboxing down below for you guys in case you missed it, and I also will link my review for this book down below because I have read it and I absolutely adored it. Like, I just loved this book so much. It was so fun and just spunky, and it was just unlike anything I've ever read before, and I was all over it. I had seen this book in passing when I was planning for different videos about my anticipated releases, but it never really caught my eye. So I had seen it, but I didn't really know what it was about. I never read the synopsis. If I had read the synopsis, I feel like I definitely would have put it in my most anticipated releases, but for some reason I just never did. But I have read something by Cynthia Hand and Jody Meadows, and I really like Jody Meadows' series. Cynthia Hand, I'm kind of like, she's kind of like a 4-star author for me, but on this book, honestly, all of them were 5-star authors. Their writing just went seamlessly together. I have a whole review, so like I said, I'll link it down below because that's just easier, because I could go on and on about this book. I just loved it. Next up, I picked up a couple of classics because lately I've been kind of into collecting classics. Like, I go through phases where I don't get any classics and then some where I get a ton of classics, and I think it's because I haven't been reading classics lately, like not as many because I'm not in school right now, but I decided to get a couple. So the first one is The Dubliners by James Joyce, and then also by James Joyce I got A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. I've heard many things about both of these books, and I love these Penguin Deluxe editions. I just think they're so beautiful, and I saw this one in Ariel Bassett's latest book haul, so that's kind of what sparked me wanting to buy them, and it just was a mess from there. But yeah, I'm super excited to read them because I haven't read them yet, but I've heard such fantastic things. They're talked about in my classes all the time, and I believe I've read at least one of the short stories from the Dubliners. Yeah, I've read, is it Araby? I've read that one. I think it's Arby or Araby. I don't know. But I read that for a class before, but I'm excited to really get into them. Next up, I ended up picking up Tarnish by Katherine Longshore because my Lady Jane has me so in the mood to read anything about like British monarchy, especially the Tudors, and this book is all about Anne Boleyn, and I've heard really great things about Katherine Longshore. I know she has like at least 3 books that are all about kind of the Tudor dynasty. I believe it focuses on that, but I know they're about the English monarchy way back in the day, so I'm just super excited to read this one. It was only $2 because it was on clearance, which I think is awesome for like a hardcover book, and I really like the cover of this one, so yeah, I'm excited to jump into it. Next up is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This is her most recent release, and it's all about monsters and good versus evil, and this was actually the book that was included in the July Owl Crate, so I will link that unboxing down below as well. I loved that Owl Crate. It was just the best. That was a good versus evil one, and I ended up getting the good box, and I got this book, and it was great. It was just a great experience. But I have read Victoria Schwab's Archived, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, but that was mostly because I had been expecting something completely different than what I ended up getting, so I was just kind of inevitably let down. So this one I'm kind of going into without any expectations and hoping that I will enjoy it because people really love Victoria Schwab, and I don't think she's a bad writer. I just think I had too many expectations for that last book, so I'm hoping that this one will be good. Next up, I have Jonathan Unleashed by Meg Rostov. I was actually sent this for review by Penguin Random House Canada, so thank you to them for sending this to me. This is Meg Rostov. You may recognize her from the book How I Live Now, which was also a movie, and it's a dystopian. This is her first adult novel, and I had expectations for it, and honestly I was kind of let down by it. I didn't really like this book too much. I think I ended up giving it 3 stars. I just felt like it was all over the place, and it had so much potential because it's about dogs and dog sitting, so I was like, yes, I'm gonna love it, but no, alas, I did not. So it's a little bit of a disappointment, but at least the cover has dogs on it. Next up, I actually picked up a couple of books for classes. So the first one is Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. Honestly, I feel like I've heard about this book before, like just in passing, but I've never really given it a second thought. But I'm taking a class on constructing children's literature, and this class was one of the assigned texts, so I had to pick it up, and yeah, honestly, don't know too much about it. I feel like it's just going to be kind of an adventure narrative, but we'll see. Then I also had to pick up The Princess and the Goblin by George MacDonald. I have read The Light Princess by George MacDonald for a class last year, but this one I'm reading for a class this year, obviously. That was a stupid sentence. But I actually kind of really like the Puffin Classics editions, but they've redone the cover so they don't really look like this anymore, but I actually kind of like the cover of this one. I think it's just because it's purple, and I really like purple, in case you can tell by my walls. So I think that's why I like it, but I've heard great things about this. I really liked George MacDonald's Light Princess, so we'll see. The next book that I ended up getting is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. You guys have been bugging me to read this ever since it came out, and honestly, I'm really apprehensive about it just because I'm not so sure about Simon and Baz, and like, I don't know. I just feel like it's too similar to Harry Potter, so I'm not really gonna like it too much, but I have heard really great things, so I am going to pick it up and see if I like it. I don't really know. And if you guys are unfamiliar with this story, it's basically in Fangirl, Rainbow Rowell's other book and my favorite by her. The main character writes fan fiction about Simon and Baz, which is like this, they're characters in a fantasy series that is kind of a little bit similar to Harry Potter. We're on the last two books, finally. So this next one is The Wizard of Oz by Frank L. Baum. You may be saying, Haley, did you not have The Wizard of Oz in your last book haul? To which I would say, yes, I did. But I didn't have this edition. I have a problem with buying so many editions of classics just because I love them so much and I love collecting them. But this is the, what's it called? Penguin Threads edition. So it's all like woven, and you can see it on the inside. Like they show what the back would look like on the actual like woven thingy, if that makes sense. But I love the cover for this book, and I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I'm very excited for this one. I haven't read it yet. I plan on reading it very soon. And finally, the last book that I ended up picking up this month was Exit Pursued by Bear by E.K. Johnston. E.K. Johnston is the author of 1,000 Nights as well as some other books, but 1,000 Nights is the one that I'm familiar with, and I have it and I've tried to read it, haven't gotten into it, but this one intrigued me. It's about a cheerleader, and it's a retelling of The Winter's Tale by Shakespeare, which is one of my favorite Shakespeare plays, and it's one that like isn't really talked about a lot, but it's kind of starting to be talked about again. But I was really intrigued on how a YA retelling of The Winter's Tale would work, because I just felt like it wouldn't. And I have read this, and I will link my review down below whenever it's up. I'm not sure if it's going to be going up on the same day as this video, but if it is, I will have it. Either way, I'm going to have it linked down below eventually. But I had mixed feelings on this book, so I don't know, very mixed feelings. But overall, it was actually, what I wanted to say was that I found out that this author is Canadian when I was reading this book, because I was reading it and things were written like it said grade 9 and grade 10 instead of freshman and sophomore, which I was like, oh my god. No, not sophomore. Yeah, sophomore. Yeah. So I was like, oh my god, like I understand what's going on. And then at the end she says where she wrote the book, and it's actually really, really close to me. And it's like a city that I visit frequently. So I was like, oh my god, that is amazing. So it was really refreshing to read a Canadian author. Okay, so the last thing that I almost forgot to include in this video is this planner. I am absolutely obsessed with planners. I've done a whole time management video on it. I'll link it down below for you guys. But if you've seen that, you guys know that I love my planner, and I wanted to get a new one just because my old one, like, it still had time left in it, but I like this one because it's hardcover and it's just really sturdy and nice and makes me feel professional. So I ended up getting this one. This one is by the brand Bandeau, and yeah, I really like it. I love the cover and everything, and it starts in August, and it's not August now, but I've already like been starting it because I just can't wait. So I already have stuff in it, and I already have life planned out because well, especially because I'm planning on pre-filming almost all of August's videos so I can take most of the month off. So yeah, I have all of that pre-filming information in here and everything, and yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with this planner. I think it is just so pretty, and I'm so excited to like actually start being able to use it to plan out every single day because it's gonna be so fun. Okay, so that is finally all for this book haul. That took me forever. I've literally been filming for almost 40 minutes now, yet this video will probably, I'm hoping, will only end up being like 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking now because I have a million other videos to film, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!